Welcome everyone to another episode of One Shot Revolver. I would like to begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation and the Noongar people, traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today, and we pay respects to their elders past and present. Today we are playing a very interesting game from the fabulous Connor the DM. But before we introduce all that, let's introduce our fantastic players today. Danielle, who are you and what are you doing here?
Hi, I'm Danielle. I have been role-playing for many, many, many years, too many to count. And I so far don't 100% know what this game is about, other than that there's a murder mystery going on. So I have no character introduction for you yet. I'm just hanging in to see how this goes.
Just introduce yourself. That's at this stage, is all we're doing. I should have said I am Damien, of the he, him pronouns. Peter, who are you and what are you doing here?
My name's Peter. I haven't been role-playing that long. Dabbled in theatre that I got roped into from Lucky. It's GM some other games. But yeah, I'm here to have a good time and try and weave in these cards that I've been dealt for this game into some kind of character that will be possibly very obnoxious. But not to the players, just to their characters.
You're never obnoxious.
Thank you.
No, he's not. B, welcome. Introduce yourself.
Hey, my name's B. My pronouns are they, them. I am a regular role player, but usually in pretty set campaigns. And this is a very good and very chaotic game, and I'm really looking forward to it and seeing what people come up with.
Me too. All right. And Connor, introduce yourself and introduce what the hell we are doing here today. What are we doing? What are we playing?
I'm Connor, and we're playing a really fun game called Somebody Has Died. Typically, this is a game with a number of different cards that help you build an improvisational story about essentially someone has died. Everyone wants the estate that is left in the will, and the cards help you build the story about why you want that estate. It's a really fun game to play in person, and it's something that I regularly play with my friends, and we end up playing this for hours. You know, when we've wanted to play board games, for a weekend or something, and then this ends up being the only thing we play because it just keeps going and going when we let it to. So I'm hoping to play a quick or two quick rounds of this tonight, where our players here will come up with some really fun and interesting stories about why they want what's left in the estates. So to break it down, this game occurs in sort of 4 rounds. To start with, everyone gets an identity card, which says who they are, a relationship card, which says their relationship to the person who's deceased, and 2 backstory cards, which they need to incorporate into their story. First round is them providing their opening statements about, obviously explaining who they are and how they know they exist and why they want the estate. Then it goes into an interrogation round where they would each receive another backstory card. Using this new piece of backstory component, they need to weave that into their story about providing extra reasons why this means they should get the estate. Then we leave it to the players to sort of interrogate each other a little bit, try and poke holes in each other's stories before going into some final statements where everyone gets another card again and use that for their final statement. Throughout the game, I can deliver objection cards to players for anything fun and amusing, and they can use those cards to play on another player. The best part about all of this is that sort of everything that is on a card has to be true. So any objection that you play on another player, that's automatically true as part of their story, and that's just something everyone knows. So any questions for the players before we start, or are we all pretty mostly clear with everything that's going on?
Just real quick one. The backstory cards, that's just like a random thing that you work into your backstory, because looking at the two I've got, neither of them has any backstory on it. They're just objects.
Yes, they're things you just have to incorporate or weave into your story somehow.
Cool and normal.
Good luck.
Good luck. Yeah.
All right, are we good to kick off?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's see how this.
Once more into the breach, dear friends.
I love it.
Well, everyone, we're gathered here today due to the untimely death of Poseidon. As we all know, Poseidon valiantly fell in battle against the abyssal titan of the deep, protecting us here in Atlantis. In Poseidon's will, he bequeaths his legendary trident of power. You all know how great the trident of power is. And he bequeaths it to the worthy inheritor for the mantle of the protector of the sea. Now, you four have come forward and said, yes, I am the worthy protector. So why don't you explain why it should be up to you to protect the seas? Do we have any volunteers to start, or should I choose?
We just go for it.
Go, Peter.
Okay. Poseidon was a great guest on my TV show. I interviewed him, and what he did for us was fantastic. He defended us from a great threat. But what Atlantis needs now is a leader of politics, and I know what the people are thinking. I know what they need. Also, I know that he gave the secrets of the trident to me specifically. Backstage before the interview, he went into a lament 10 minutes before. We were late getting onto the show, but he said the word ocean 5 times. And I went 5 kilometers east, as is his favorite direction. You could see it on his face. And there I found a stop sign. And on the back, it said, Vulcan was here. Now, if I know anything about Poseidon, and I'd like to think I'm an expert, that has the key to unlocking the trident's true power. And he gave that knowledge to me. I will find him again with that trident. I won't let any of you stop me.
Okay. So it's a bold statement. Knowing that he's given you the keys and just sort of, I guess, gave everyone else the keys there.
They tell you the truth. The whole truth.
Damien, so who are you and why do you deserve the trident?
I am Vince, the voice actor. Everybody knows me as Vince, the voice actor, and Poseidon and I go way back. We were popular in high school together. Reason why I deserve the trident, because Poseidon trusted me more than anybody, and he knew the corruption of power. He knew the corrupting influence of power. He knew how dangerous it was. And he trusted me more than anybody because he allowed me to hypnotize him. And under this hypnosis, he said that I could be the next wielder. Now, that is a lot of trust to give somebody because it's you lose all your will when you're hypnotized. So, what was I? Um, he literally told me. Oh, okay. He literally told me that I could have an under hypnosis, and I believe there are actually witnesses to that event. So that is my claim to the trident.
He gave it to you under hypnosis.
Yes, but there were witnesses.
It's brilliant.
Danielle, why do you deserve it? Who are you, and why do you deserve the trident?
I am increasingly wondering if I'm in the right company here. I'm Maria Edgerton. I'm the editor-in-chief of The Guardian, and I believe that since it's not merely the power of the trident, as Vince, the voice actor, did specify, power isn't what we're looking for here. We want a guardian of the seas for Atlantis. And as one can clearly see from the only independent journalism commonly available in the civilized world, guardians of the seas need more than just power these days. The trident will help, but so will making the information about the plight of the oceans public, both in Atlantis and out of it. I've known Poseidon for a long time. We spent some time studying together in university, and I believe that Poseidon cared more about the oceans than about any silly confirmation of who should have a trinket. The trinket's purpose is protection, and that's what we should be focusing on. I also do happen to have a certain item in my possession which Poseidon specifically gave me to represent the enemies of the oceans. I can bring that out later if those of you who are still sober want to have a look at it.
Sober?
Okay.
You claim that you are sober? My friend, you didn't even tell us your name.
Ah, I thought you would recognize me. I am Petrie the Powerful. I know what you're thinking before you even think it.
Do you?
I know, I am magnificent, but powerful, please. I prefer.
Okay.
Just to clarify on rules, can we kind of... How does the objection system work again?
The objection system, anytime anyone else is talking or it's their turn to talk, you can play an objection on anyone else.
Okay.
And they must then sort of kind of adapt and
Right,
put that
gotcha.
into their story.
Gotcha.
Everything everyone says is kind of true.
Yep.
Immediately.
Cool. And thank you, Petrie, for finally introducing yourself properly. B, can you introduce who you are and why you deserve the trident of power?
My name Word, and Poseidon and I shared water together. We both shared a like for the water. I've known Poseidon a very long time. We went to school together. We were best friends. And if school is what you could call it, while we were in school together, this was before his God of the Sea nonsense. He was always a bit big for his boots, but we appreciated that about each other. I think we both were a bit big for each other's boots. He pushed me. He says I jumped. I dispute that. Into a frozen river. And I never came out until about 15 years ago. And so I am around 25 or 2,350 years old.
Oh,
And so he's always carried a lot of guilt about that moment. I've always been a bit of a risk taker. And because of that risk taking, I've taken on a career as a stuntman. And because of the skill that I have as a stuntman, I developed a large Instagram following. I've got about 200,000 followers on Instagram. Poseidon and I reconnected after I was thawed from the ice, and he shared his guilt at his. He says it was a dare. He says it was a dare. He shared his guilt at not pushing me into the river, and said that in his death he'd bequeath me whatever he could, given the power that he'd risen to following our childhood friendship. Because of our affinity with water, I don't know if you are aware of the utility of tearaway pants. As I'm often in water as part of my stuntman abilities, I frequently wear tearaway pants, and with the Trident's abilities, I wouldn't have the need for tearaway pants anymore, because I don't need to dry myself quickly, and I don't need to let pants, when you undo the snaps on the tearaway pants, it lets the water drain out a lot quicker. I would like to not have the need for them.
Thanks, Quirk. That's great. So, has anyone got any questions for each other at the moment?
Vince, the voice actor. You claimed that you hypnotized Poseidon. And
correct. With his permission. Yes, we did.
Can the gods even be hypnotized, or was he just humoring you, do you think?
It's regardless. I mean, there was witnesses. It was filmed.
Yes.
It was on my Instagram.
How reliable were those witnesses?
Well, I mean, there was a notary there. There's 3 lawyers. So I think they're pretty reliable.
And if you...
So regardless of whether he was, admitting these things about me wanting the Trident under duress or whatever, there were witnesses, and it was legally binding.
Duress? You think it was under duress? I mean,
no, I'm just saying.
I think
if you
really
were to
means
throw
that it can't...
aspersions my way.
I wasn't throwing any aspersions. I was just asking a factual question. I believe you're the one who mentioned that Poseidon might have been under duress while he had that conversation with you, notary or no notary.
I think when there's witnesses and legally binding documents, I think it's irrelevant.
I think you'll find that duress does have legal consequences.
But aren't we in the sea? We're in Atlantis, aren't we?
Atlantis is a continent. It's not just ocean. You're standing on dry land at this moment.
But if I understand correctly, Atlantis is in international waters.
I would imagine it's in Atlantean waters.
Well,
possibly Atlantic.
But we could agree to disagree.
About geography.
Correct.
Well then.
We're living in a post-truth world.
Yes, apparently we are.
And this agreement that was made potentially under duress, was it under Atlantean law?
I believe it was under the law of the ocean.
Okay.
As a,
Let me just step in here for the moment. Just a bit of sort of I guess game rule because it'd be visible if we were all together. But if you are going to use for objection or something else on someone else, just preface it with objection. If we're playing together, you just give it a card.
Yep.
Okay. For this next section, might be good if giving yourself or giving your character a name, if you could just change it real quick,
Yes,
so you can keep track of everything.
My memory is terrible.
The last time I changed, I forgot to change back before an important meeting.
For an interview, wasn't it?
It was for a candidate assessment for a political
no.
party.
Oh dear.
damn.
Big boy the 8th.
Big boy the 23rd.
Yeah.
So, can we do objections at any time?
Yeah, you can do objections at any time when someone is answering a question. Right?
Gotcha. Yep.
So we'll go into the next round here, where I ask you each a direct question. I've given you everyone a backstory, another backstory card. You've got to use that in your next response, plus whatever else you can come up with. Start with Vince.
Vince, the voice actor.
Yeah. So, tell me, how did you meet Poseidon again? Initially, was it just on your was it just when you hypnotized him, or did you know him beforehand?
No. You don't just hypnotize anybody. We've been close friends since high school. We have been close friends since high school, and the trust that this god of a man had in me was so great that he allowed me to hypnotize him on many occasions. And he said, even plenty of times, he said, whatever I say under hypnosis, legally binding, my friend. That's how much I trust you.
That sounds like a very trusting person.
Oh, we were close.
Can you describe, further how close you guys were? Did you guys go and do anything together, or?
Well, I mean, a gentleman would never kiss and tell, but we were quite close and got up to some mischief, as the seniors would say in high school, and we were very close.
Because this is the trident of power that we're talking about here. This is a great responsibility to protect the ocean. I'm just not really feeling that you're really deserving of, just due to the closeness of your relationship with Poseidon, that you're really deserving of the trident itself and the responsibility it entails.
Well, the trident of power, he called many things the trident of power, if you get my drift. We
I'm sorry.
Objection.
Are you implying necromancy? Necrophilia? I'm sorry.
No, I wasn't, but I'm questioning how you came to that conclusion based on that.
Objection, Vince. I've read your fan fiction about Poseidon, and that's the exact wording you use for Poseidon's phallus. And I don't think you really had relations with Poseidon. I think you made that up. I can see it on your face.
I did.
The twitch.
I made it up. You're right. I'm sorry. I was always close with Vince, and I didn't with Poseidon. I didn't want to say the true reason we were friends. You see, I was popular in high school, but popular for the wrong reasons. I was made fun of after a tragic bee accident, and I've been allergic to bees ever since. But the godly man that was Poseidon took pity on me, and we became really close friends, and hence the hypnosis and all the rest of the story. But he's really close to my heart, and he was so kind to me.
So it was platonic. You wanted it to be closer.
Yes, it was
Tragic.
platonic in the modern sense of the word, but platonic, not the classical sense. But yes, I loved him dearly.
It was dear to all of our hearts.
He was.
Maria, you spoke a lot about exactly how important the trident of power was to protect the ocean.
Yes.
You know, what do you think should really be done, and you know, what would you use the trident of power for? What did Poseidon teach you any of his ways to on how he's safeguarding us? Would you be able to protect us from the next deep abyssal lord?
Well, this isn't common knowledge, so I'd appreciate it if it stayed just in this company, hypnosis or no hypnosis. But I am actually in the process of developing my own godly power as one of the so-called new gods. I so far have telekinesis and ambidextrous telekinesis that I have developed, and I am sufficiently powerful that I believe I could in fact use the trident of power for its intended purpose, to protect both people from the oceans and the oceans from people.
Objection, Your Honor.
All of us from the abyssal lords. Objection?
Objection. I heard it from a good close source. My friend Barry the beekeeper told me.
I thought you were allergic to bees.
I'm trying to overcome my fear.
Keep your enemies close, am I right?
Told me
that works so well when they sting you.
You actually poisoned the water supply.
The water supply.
The water supply into Atlantis. And that may have very well killed our dear Lord.
I believe that you have your stories mixed up. We've all had youthful follies, and I think poison is too strong a word, but there may have been a time many years ago where I may have spiked the water supply into Atlantis with psychedelics, but it was a long time ago, and whilst I admit it was wrong, it was unsafe, I shouldn't have done that, and it may have led in part to the development of the Abyssal Lord from something that leapt into the ocean whilst extremely high and not having a good time. I don't believe that it had anything to do with the death of my dear friend and companion, Poseidon.
So you're saying Barry the beekeeper embellished the truth?
I'm saying that perhaps Barry the beekeeper was mixing up more than one story, or perhaps you had both had a few too many meads, or perhaps bee stings.
That has happened in the past, yes.
We're all susceptible to allergies.
Thank you, Maria. Now, well, can you expand a little bit more on you know, you're saying that you deserve the trident of power just due to mainly your love of water, and Poseidon bequeathed it to you because he didn't actually push you over a cliff?
He says that he didn't push me. He maintains that it was a dare that I followed. I don't remember that. I don't believe him. Poseidon, at his heart, was a prankster. He shook the earth under people's feet just to see them wobble. He was sort of like, when I was filming one of my prank videos for YouTube, he caused an earthquake that actually decimated a nearby city. It was pretty tragic, but he didn't show remorse unless you were close to him. It was all godly works. He was a bit... I appreciated him as a friend. As a god, I think he could have done better. During that prank video, I broke my leg. And he signed the cast that came after it, and we had a long and frank discussion about the extent of his power and how he didn't feel like he was necessarily worthy of that power. And functionally, he was just a bit of a lad. And I think that as a bit of a lad myself, why wouldn't he bequeath that power to me?
Objection. Werg, I have video evidence of you burning the deceit's house down. That's more than just a bit of a lad.
Do you think he wanted the evidence of what he did out in public record?
What did he do in your house, Werg?
Wait, burning the
In his
deceased house
house.
down or my house? Okay.
His house. Sorry.
There were records of his pranks. He kept some pretty meticulous diary. And the agreement between us was that if he were to pass in one of his endeavors, and I can't say any more on that I would help to suppress some of his tendencies being revealed.
And you think this makes you the best candidate to wield the trident of power?
Poseidon wasn't a good bloke.
So you don't have to be one either?
We are debating the will of Poseidon here.
I think we are.
We are debating the will of
The will of Poseidon, yes, we're literally doing that.
Yes, we are debating the will of Poseidon here. It doesn't matter who is deserving according to morals and scripture and whatever other law. It matters what Poseidon wanted, and Poseidon would have wanted the trident in the hands of a prankster.
Okay, that's a bold statement. Burning down his house to, clear his
It's a
browsing
prank?
history, I guess.
That wasn't a prank. That was a promise.
Fair enough. I mean, I have a similar promise with some of my friends.
Something browser history.
Something die unexpectedly, so burn their house down. I guess if you've been in a frozen river for that long, maybe you don't know how to get rid of a browser history any other way.
It was a long promise.
Oh, we made the promise recently.
Oh, okay.
And Poseidon's been around. He knew what he was doing. The whole house was contaminated.
You gotta get rid of it all.
Oh, he's been around.
Yeah,
That's what I mean. That is the point.
In my fanfic, anyway.
I've got that cast he signed. We tried to depict our handshake as best as we could, and that's what we both signed. We've got both of our signatures next to each other under our depiction of our handshake. And it's not a good drawing, but it still makes me laugh. It's framed. Just that piece.
Thank you. Like that, I guess that explains a bit more of your relationship in depth, and I guess in how you would seek to follow in Poseidon's footsteps at the very least. You all know he was a bit of a cunt.
I mean, fair.
Petri, so you were saying something about a Vulcan and a stop sign. What does this have to do with the Trident of Power? What does this prove that you need or you deserve to have power over everything in the ocean? Like, are you really just gonna end up using it as another like gimmick for your TV show?
Well, of course not. Of course not. The TV show is only for so that people recognize me when I step out into the world as their leader. Their leader. You see, between you and me, if I could just aside real quick. He's not dead. These clues, this stop sign right here. Got it. It's off camera. It is merely the beginnings of the breadcrumbs that will lead me to him. Vulcan was here. Maybe this is the perfect group of people. Does anyone know him by the name Vulcan? I don't know. I haven't been out of my house in a while.
That was his tag name.
Tag. That's it. That's it. One of his pranks. All of his. He was a smart. See you next Tuesday. But a smart man, nonetheless. He's led me. He's left breadcrumbs for me. He knows. That's why he came on my show so often. He knows I'm the only one smart enough to lead our people.
Objection.
Yes,
I
was
have.
gonna say objection.
From the
I
newspaper.
don't believe that Poseidon came on your show so often because he trusted you or because he wanted you to follow in his footsteps. I know that you catfished him
Whoa!
to get him to come on your show quite that much. This is worse than Vince the voice actor's fanfic. This is verging on actual illegal obsession here.
I may have exaggerated my powers at the time and my bust size, but that doesn't. But he stayed on that show, damn it, and he came back for more. True, I used a different avatar each time I asked him on the show, but he's a smart man. He knew what he was getting himself into. I hope. But was it tough enough to crack? Couldn't tell whether he was surprised or disgusted to see me. He stayed for the questions nonetheless.
He knew.
Vince, were you going to say something?
I was going to say another objection. Can I object again? Is there a limit on objections?
Well, let's just see. So, Petri, do you think that that
Petri
Poseidon
powerful,
is
please.
Petri the Powerful? You think that, or do you prefer Mr. the Powerful?
Oh, Mr. the Powerful.
But definitely not, Doctor, right?
Not legally.
Mr. the Powerful, do you think Poseidon is still alive? So, are you taking the why do you want the Trident then? He's clearly going to come back and claim it himself.
Well, I believe he's not in a position where he can come back of his own volition. Hence why he's left all these clues for me to find. He needs me with the Trident to find him. And
He's in fucking ice, isn't he?
he might be in ice. He might be. I really hope it's ice. If he's in lava, I cannot help him. I cannot help him. But if he's in ice, maybe we can do a collaboration. But
why can't you help him if he's in lava? You're not going to go rescue the god of the sea?
Look, I would if I could. I wouldn't be able to make it there.
You have a stop sign from Vulcan.
I've got a stop sign from Vulcan. Stop
that
Vulcan.
Would stop the lava, surely.
Objection.
I'm very averse to the heat. I can't get. I'd like to stay where it's cool. Yes.
Objection. I think your hesitation to not brave the lava is a bit questionable to me, especially for someone who I recently found out has, what is the saying, some skeletons in their closet. In the fact, they are literal skeleton in your closet.
You're saying that I have skeletons in my closet?
Literal skeletons.
It's true. It's true, I have skeletons in my closet. They're props for the show, damn it!
A likely story.
And I'll tell it again to every investigator that asks me.
I'm seeing so many places for investigative journalism.
Well, that's a great opportunity. So, because we're going to take a little recess right now while I collect my thoughts from all this. So I'll just leave it you guys to talk amongst yourselves and ask questions. For this, I encourage you to
Ask questions to each other.
Yeah,
Cool. Awesome.
ask one question to sort of one pointed direct question to everyone.
Maria,
Yes.
why did you think Poseidon was such an upstanding citizen?
I never said he was an upstanding citizen, only that he did a good job.
Did he, though?
Well, he kept the
quite
Abyssal
good.
Lords out.
Killing hundreds in the process.
That is what natural disasters do. And I believe it was your statement that said that Poseidon was effectively a natural disaster and a trickster, which is unusual. Never heard that before.
You didn't know Poseidon like I did.
Apparently not. How do you feel that you know him so well when you spent most of the time since you met frozen in ice and not interacting? You've only spent a few years interacting with the god at all.
5 years before I was frozen, 15 years since, so 20 years in total.
But you said you were 2,500 years old. Was that right?
Yeah, most of that, 20 of those years, I've been out of the ice.
Poseidon presumably has been out and about for all 2,000 of them.
And how long have you known him?
Not nearly as long, since university. So again, 15 years or so. But you claim to know him very well, and you've only known him for a small percentage of his life.
You don't grow up with someone and learn their foibles as a child, as a youngster, before the God of the Sea nonsense. It was always, I think I said before, too big for his boots. He actually never wore boots.
Too big.
He's too big. He could never find the right size.
You know what they say about gods with
15
big
foot
feet.
tall.
Big shoes. to fill.
Can't wear boots.
Yeah.
So
Barefoot man
Poseidon
he
is
was.
how many years old?
He was older than me, but not by that much.
Mm.
I don't know. I didn't ask. He was a kid when I was a kid.
Did he change from when you were before pre frozen era to post frozen?
He worked out in the interim. He swelled a bit. And he also, I think he ended up being about, 10 feet taller than what I remember him as.
Yeah, I think Vince noticed that as well.
My fanfic. Yes. Mr. the Powerful, how can you say that he's not dead when we saw his corpse?
It's a common magic trick a man of your performance should know. I mean, right now, if I may object, okay, you're clearly 3 kids in a trench coat. No wonder you can pull off all those voices. They're 3 different voices. Now, I wonder how you're going to split the trident between 3 people.
That does explain the fanfic as well.
Is that true? Is that literally an objection card?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh shit. Oh god. Okay. You found my
This
secret.
explains.
You found my secret. We are three 15-year-old boys. And
With a trench coat, which is
the
a
trench coat.
very
And it was all about dreams and wanting to get out of Alice Springs.
This explains
So
two
what-
things.
I grew up in Alice
Explain-
Springs. We grew up in Alice Springs.
It explains why Poseidon thought he saw eye to eye with you. I mean, the whole sort of like 15 feet tall thing. And also the prankster. That's why he got along well with you. That's why you felt that affinity.
But he did let us hypnotize him. It's actually easier with 3 kids. Did you know that? 3 people. It's a lot easier. You go kind of like around like a little witch's circle.
Can you hypnotize 3 times as many people?
No, you just hypnotize one person really good.
I'll write that down. Need 2 other magicians.
Yeah.
Oh,
Murray,
sorry.
oh,
Go ahead.
are you? Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
How can you? Are you still doing these psychedelics? Are you still in contact with your? I mean, what kind of independent journalism can I expect from someone who may be?
No,
tripping?
Petrie. That was a good 15 years ago.
I see.
When you met.
Oh god.
When you met.
Yeah. Is
Uh,
that when you met?
Shortly after we met, yes. We were both at university. It's one of those things that does tend to happen. The only consequence of that entire debacle, other than a certain awareness of Poseidon's prank tendencies, is that I am banned from the aquarium, unfortunately. The dolphins didn't really like the psychedelics, and one of the octopus it didn't react well ever again.
Oh no.
All right, guys. Well, thank you. Thank you for your enlightening stories. I'll now give you each 2 minutes for a closing statement on why you deserve the Trident of Power the most. And decide. So, Maria. Oh, does anyone want to start? Or...
I'm happy to start.
Okay, sure.
Now, I understand that we are trying to fulfill Poseidon's wishes here, and I will grant that Werg has a certain claim due to their equivalent laddishness and prankster nature. I'm not so certain that Vince or Petrie the Powerful do have a claim, since both of theirs seem to rely on frankly false information or trickery. But it could
Think of
happen.
false information. Objection.
Well.
I can't.
No, sorry, it's an objection. That's fine.
Objection. You're speaking with a fake accent.
I'm speaking a language that is not my native language. My native language obviously is Atlantean. So my accent in order to be understandable to the rest of the world, has to be something other than Atlantean. Have you heard English spoken with an Atlantean accent?
No, I'd love to though. Would you give us a bit?
You really wouldn't be able to understand it.
I was friends with Poseidon, so yes, I have.
You might be able to understand it, yes. But my point is, we all have a claim, however minimal, on the trident. You're 3 15-year-olds in a trench coat, and you hypnotized him into saying that you might have it. Really? Your claim is minimal. Also, Mr. the Powerful, his claim is based on collecting a roadside sign with another god's name on it. It's also minimal. However, the claim on the trident shouldn't be based solely on what we want. It should be based on what the trident is useful for. How many of the four of us could actually help protect Atlantis and the oceans from the abyssal lords? Yes, I realize that you could attempt to hypnotize them, and that is certainly something you could try. But I would ask you this: how many of us have dealt with deep sea creatures that are having a bad trip successfully in the past?
Objection.
Because
Objection. Are you saying that
Objection?
you could deal with these creatures? You weren't even brave enough to break up with me in person. You broke up with me via text.
you were on TV. Did you want me to walk in front of the cameras?
Wait
I
till
have a letter.
afterwards.
I have a letter from the deceased that says that you explicitly wanted anything that I had to say to you to be in writing, as you wanted anything that he had to say to you to be in writing, and not on a stop sign.
A misdirection, I'm sure. I'm sure of
Yes, I do believe you missed a few directions.
it.
Stop,
the stop.
particularly.
So, in closing, my point is this. We should take into account the wishes of the last god of the sea, but we also need to take into account the needs of the seas themselves and of Atlantis. For the next god of the sea, the next wielder of the trident of power, must be someone who can actually use it.
Someone
That's-
powerful.
Bold. A bold statement, but yeah, that's very thoughtful, and it is something I will certainly consider. Make sure that the trident of power goes to the right person. Vince, your closing statement.
Yes, Your Honor. As 3 15-year-old boys in trench coats, I believe I can speak for the three of us, right, lads? Yes, yes. You see, this is actually our first time out of Alice Springs. There's not much to do in Alice Springs. But there is a rather large bee population there.
That must be a problem for you.
And
Are all three of you alive?
well, funny you mentioned that, because that's how we came together as friends after we were severely stung by bees from a swarm. And that's actually the true story of how we met Mr. Poseidon. He was actually a foreign exchange student from Atlantis and came to our high school, and we became very close. And
Which of the three of you was the one who was bullied so badly? Or was it all three of you?
I hate to admit that it was all three of us. So it's how we really found one another.
And the fanfic community.
And the fanfic community, yes. We all had big crushes on Mr. Poseidon. But we became he was like a mentor, he was like a father figure to us. and he
I've read some of that fanfic.
touche. The story about the hypnotism was not a lie. We actually, as mentioned before, we like the three of us did a group hypnosis, and there was witnesses, lawyers, and the like that could actually testify to this, Your Honor, and say that under hypnosis, regardless whether he was hypnotized or not, he said that we could have the trident. And I believe that is legally binding as the laws, as per the laws of the land and the laws of the sea. What a good
Objection.
Oh shit.
I think you put the estate keeper under hypnosis and are using the testimony that you received from the estate keeper during that hypnosis session to blackmail him.
You are cunning. And it is true.
They did burn down Poseidon's house. It takes a certain amount of cunning.
Regardless,
The house
as
underwater.
mentioned before, regardless of hypnosis and under duress and etc.,
This is sounding real shady.
the law is the law, and if there are witnesses to these things, you know, A plus B equals C, and it doesn't matter. It's what is said, whether that person is hypnotized or not. In a court of law, other rules for hypnosis in a court of law, you tell me. So I do not deny it. As for how we used the trident, well, we all know the scourge of bees, whether it be air bees, land bees, sea bees, space bees,
ABs.
Airbnbs.
Airbnbs. We will be using
Maybes.
the trident. We'll be using the trident to rid the world of the scourge of bees.
And also most of our food supply in the same process.
Flies pollinate
Fish.
too. So, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, I close my statement, and as 3 15-year-olds in a trench coat, please help us out
You
of
do need it.
help us have something good for once in our life, because we grew up in Alice Springs. The end.
So sorry, anyone watching from Alice Springs.
Pathway,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
You established there's not much to do in Alice Springs except watch this.
Yeah.
Petri, your statement.
I think it's clear none of us should have the trident. Poseidon is still alive and he needs me and the trident. Give me the
Objection.
trident. Yes.
You're drunk.
That has no
Again.
bearing. As Vince, the three kids voice actor, said, anything that you say, regardless of how you are at the time, whether or not you've taken psychedelics like a certain ex-friend like the water with, or hypnosis, or a little bit of whiskey, okay? This is me. This is me. And you know that Poseidon liked the
Whiskey?
the
I mean, he did.
pranksters. And well, he did. He shared a glass before going on set a couple of times.
I mean, he was
But-
hopped up on bee venom on occasion or two.
Inadvertently.
Are
I
we
kept some
sure
in the
that this was
fridge.
Poseidon and not like Loki or Hermes?
I've lost track. No, it is Poseidon that
that needs my help. Okay, Poseidon needs my help. I'm not gonna let him go. Like mom left me. Poseidon loves me, and damn it, I'm gonna find him.
That's very very emotional there, Patrick.
I will lead our people with the trident. Otherwise, to find Poseidon.
Berg, your closing statement.
Even if he was a prankster and not very good at his god job, he was a good bloke. He tried his best. I reckon we need to give it to people who will try their best. Whether that be in pranking, whether that be in building an Instagram following. I don't think of the people we have displayed tonight that these people are going to try their best. I have a particular grievance with Petrie, Mr. the Powerful. What are the TV shows that you broadcast under duress, I'll add, after catfishing Poseidon? You happen to mention my Instagram channel. And do you remember that defamation lawsuit?
What is this like a objection thing?
It's a backstory.
It's part of their backstory.
Okay.
In that the person's there, right, which is you.
Yes. Yes.
He was drunk when the notice arrived at the lawsuit.
I leave such matters to my crew.
We settled, but Poseidon always maintained a grudge, and Poseidon was never comfortable with being on your show. I would feel gravely uncomfortable, and I think I'm joined by the other parties here today in awarding you, especially when you believe he's still alive. You probably just want him still alive so you can get more ratings for your show. I would be gravely uncomfortable in awarding you any of Poseidon's power. I know that I would do my best in attempts at protection and also in continuing Poseidon's legacy as a trickster. Bloody hell, it'll be fun to see some skateboarders fall down a massive crack in the ground. What the fuck? Sorry.
I thought Poseidon was my buddy.
You catfished him. How could he ever trust you?
We shared drinks in the green room. We talked about our parents.
Maria is not the only one who spikes liquid with psychedelics.
At least I didn't do it recently.
No, Poseidon did. I know what Poseidon was like. I have that long history, that long affinity with him, and he fucking owes me. He would want this to go to me. How did I not get any objections in that?
I think we've all used our objections up. Yeah.
Yep.
The hard part, guys, you can't block your load too early.
The rest of us haven't played this before. We didn't realize.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for those enlightening statements. But really, to find the true successor to Poseidon power, despite their history and their affiliations, I think Maria is the true inheritor,
Thank you. Thank you.
Damn it.
even if they work for the Guardian.
What?
Congratulations on becoming the new protector of the seas.
See, it's all about protecting the seas.
It's not what Poseidon would have wanted.
Don't worry, Werg. I'm sure I can make some earthquakes and volcanoes for you.
Congratulations. Try to break up with the city in person.
You're still dark about that.
Of course. Now I'm going to take my stop sign out of the office and into my air-conditioned limousine back to the studio. Thank you.
I'm going back to Alice Springs.
I'm sorry.
There's nothing here for me.
Atlantis has a thriving fanfic community.
Yes,
Join that.
Yes. Let me just help you button up that trench coat.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
All right.
That was fun.
What did everyone think?
That was really
Did you
good.
enjoy it?
It was fun.
Excellent.
That was very
The 3 kids in a trench coat objection really broke me.
fun. I think you were giving a statement at the time I got given it. I just burst out laughing.
I couldn't. It broke my brain for a minute.
There's a couple of
Ridiculous.
Sorry, go ahead. Dee.
No, I was just going, it gets ridiculous. Some of the things that, like, I had tearaway pants that I had to work in, like, halfway through a round one time, and tearaway pants are a weird thing to
There's some weird objections which I wasn't able to sort of, like, give you guys in this setting so much because it would be a little bit difficult. There's ones that are like, hey, objection, you have a face on the back of your head and you have to draw another identity for that face and have that face included in the rest of the game as well, the other identity. There's ones which is like, you kidnap my imaginary friend and you draw an identity for the friend. Things like that. There's these other ones which were a little bit sort of harder, which make the game a little bit more chaotic. So yeah, that was
a pretty bloody chaotic game.
That was a lot of fun. I'm gonna have to get that. That's really good.
Really recommend this game to just get with some friends when they're drinking and stuff like that. And it's really just, prompts for storytelling almost about just making shit up, right?
Making shit up, yeah, exactly.
It did feel a lot like the Baron Munchausen's game that we played. Similar kind of improv storytelling feel to it, just a different setting.
I quite like the idea of using the characters that you create in this session to form the basis of a campaign going forward.
That would be fun. I don't know how I'm
complete with backstory.
3 kids in a trench coat.
Yeah.
You can obviously tweak it a bit, but I think it would be kind of fun. You obviously
it would be interesting.
Keep on drawing cards because that would screw up any character development.
Yeah, some of the backstory ones are really hard to sort of. There's some cool ones which you could probably do something really good with, like, hey, you have a pet falcon that you brought to the to either the estate meeting or you have a pet falcon that you have to incorporate in your backstory somehow. But then also there's ones where it's like, you brought Monopoly. Good luck with that.
Fair enough then.
Oh, good luck with that. Yeah.
Your connection to the deceased is you sat next to each other on a plane. Like, that's
your
it.
relationship.
Yeah.
You know what would be really good fun, actually, is to play a round of this and then take the characters that you've made, complete with the backstory and all the discussion, and put those characters through a proper haunted house one-shot. It's like you came to the house of the deceased and you and the whoever's determining who gets the bequeathment are now stuck in the haunted house, and then you play an actual haunted house horror game using those characters.
Oh,
that would be great.
The burned down
That
house
would be
that worked.
amazing.
Yeah.
Just the ruins.
Oh,
Because
Yeah,
it
we-
made
Burned down his house.
I know.
Some of those relationship cards must be really tenuous because I got you recognize them from TV,
which I feel like I changed a little bit, but like I was just like, oh yeah, saw her on TV one time.
Yeah.
We're buddies.
You met on a singles cruise.
Yeah.
You got into a fender bender with them.
Oh no.
You were there.
And so they owe you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were their Alcoholics Anonymous sponsor. There's a lot of real simple ones where it's like, okay, you guys went to school together, you were roommates at school, but you were their parole officer. I think was a good one that I had once.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting.
That would have been interesting for Poseidon.
There was a lot of corruption.
I love how we learnt about the deceased.
As it went through.
Yeah, it went through.
Their
I'm glad
character.
I-
Made up shit. Yeah.
I'm glad. Yeah, Poseidon's a cunt. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know much about the mythology, so
I mean, Poseidon's not as bad
Blank
as Zeus,
slate.
but all the
They're both
Greek
Greek,
gods,
you know.
they were not great.
No, they were not
Yeah.
They weren't good with consent.
No.
None
Hmm.
of them.
no.
I think Hades was probably the best because there's a story to be told with Persephone where she ran away rather than was kidnapped. Most of the rest, the mythology is not great.
Yeah.
I've heard it's pretty nasty.
So would you guys like to maybe play another game and then do a haunted house of some kind? That sounds like actually pretty fun because me and B have been trying to work out a way to sort of incorporate this into another game in the future. Because you do in this, in the process of the discussion and the weird prompts and stuff that you get, create a really novel and robust
solid.
character and other relationships with people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'd be really interesting. I think something like one of the Powered by the Apocalypse systems or Cypher or something like that would be a good one to sort of translate the characters into
Yeah.
for a game. But yeah, I'd be up for it.
I mean,
All right, I'll see what I can do for that then, and then perhaps we could play it again and keep the characters
Yeah.
for a house.
Let's do it.
Amazing.
Play a round of House on the Hill to get the base plot for the haunted house scenario. Like,
How many games can we incorporate into one? Into one campaign,
make that a
right?
challenge.
Yeah, how many different
Yeah.
systems can you go through while keeping the same characters?
Yeah.
So many.
Mm.
No, cool.
Anyway, I will say goodbye to the internet now. And
Yes.
thanks for everyone for joining us. I hope you
Thanks for joining us. It was fun.
learned a lot and laughed a lot. So
And thanks for running it, Connor.
Yeah.
you're a champ, Con.